Vanya Tukarov says, for an event where you're wearing formal Highland dress,
Okay.
would you ever find it acceptable to substitute something like a Fairburn Sykes dagger? That is the traditional British commando knife, by the way. For a traditional dirk, since they are similar in function, design, length, even if the FS dagger is much less anachronistic. So would you wear a vintage World War II classic combat dagger instead of a dirk as part of formal Highland dress? This gets down to the balance between you do you and bowing to tradition.
In my mind, I wouldn't do it from an aspect of it looks the dirk, as worn on the belt is very specific. It's a very specific part of the Highland dress outfit for formal. I would venture to say it's not really worn anymore that much for formal. Maybe less than 1% of the time.
Guys in British regiments or pipe bands.
Yeah, it's
pipe majors.
Yeah, it's really not worn. And so I would, if there's something that is that much of a signature piece, so to speak, that is already not worn, trying to substitute something different that isn't the thing, it's neither fish nor fowl. It's not the right thing. Therefore, I wouldn't do it. If it was, let's say you're trying to substitute a smaller, a fixed blade knife instead of a ski-and-do. Now, that I might give a little bit of a pass because it's 90% tucked in the sock, and maybe you really want something functional where most ski-and-dos are like letter opener kind of blades. Or if you want to have a little bit of something different with your kilt pin as opposed to an actual kilt pin, maybe give it a little bit of a pass to it there. But when I think doing something that is wholly different, it's too far off. It's mixing things that aren't really close enough to be mixed. To me, it's less personal style and more, it's not right vibe to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I think what we're talking about here is that the things you mentioned are more subtle.
Yeah.
I mean, there are very beautiful handcrafted ski-and-dos out there, and there are knives that have a beautiful handle, which are proportionally right and comfortable. You could actually wear it as a ski-and-do, and that's okay. And we've talked about alternate kilt pins and the fact that kilt pins have actually changed a lot over the decades, so you can kind of get away with that. But this is taking something which is nobody's used a dirk as a dirk for 250 years. Okay,
they had to defend themselves at the altar.
Yeah. Or it's a nod to the hunting traditions. So you have Victorian era dirks, which are hunting knives, with the smaller knives in them and the fork, all the time. It's a nod to that ancestry of the clothing. I mean, there's a reason why it's part of national dress. It is largely symbolic. And no, not many people wear them. I think you either look very, very much, I'm dressed up now, like you're a bagpiper or you're an honor guard of some kind. Again, British military. Or if you don't do it very carefully, you're going to look like a caricature, Ren Fair. So I think the problem with wearing another kind of large knife, and let's be clear here, these knives are smaller than a dirk. It is a combat knife. Hey, we got one. That looks almost identical to the one that I inherited from my dad. It's not as long as a dirk. It's not as hefty as a dirk. It's going to look like, I like this knife. I decided to wear this knife.
Yeah, I'm a knife guy.
I'm a knife guy. And I want you all to know that I'm a knife guy. I just don't find it aesthetically pleasing, frankly. And I think it's kind of, you're really on the edge of, if it was a memento, like if your grandfather was in the SAS or something, or was fighting with the resistance in France in World War II, your great grandfather or something, and you're wearing it for that reason. Okay, but how often are you going to explain that to everybody? If that's the case, and it's gonna look odd. So I personally cannot recommend it.
Yeah, it's gonna look out of place. It's going to look, if especially if the rest of the outfit looks well put together, Prince Charlie, or formal regimental double or something, it's a very, very well put together outfit. And then one piece that's what's going on there? So it just takes a left turn, and it just looks off. So it's either caricature or it just looks like you didn't know what you were doing. And if the rest of the outfit looks good, why compromise the rest of the outfit and be like, why did he do that? Or that looks weird. I don't know why I'm talking like Owen Wilson now. Oh, wow.
Right, and there are decorative versions of that dagger out there. I mean, there are some with brass hilts and stuff, so maybe you could do that if you had like a pretty one. But my first instinct, if I saw someone wearing that with even semi-formal to formal Highland dress, would be they looked at pictures of Highland dress, and they look at pictures of guys, especially old-timey pictures, like, oh, I'm supposed to have a knife. I don't have one of those Dirk things. I do have this. Yeah. I'm supposed to wear a knife, so I'll use this. So it can smack of trying too hard.
That's literally when, as you started talking, I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm going to go next. It looks like he's trying too hard. Or it looks like I didn't know what I was doing, and I just shoved this thing in because it's close enough.
I shoved this dagger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, hold this.
It's too much is too much. And I think that's where I would, it's already something that you don't really wear. I had a dress Dirk that I brought to my wedding. I didn't wear it for the wedding. We used it just to cut the cake as a nod to tradition, as a nod to the symbolism of it, and that kind of thing.
And it just looks fun.
Yeah. And it's a knife. Who doesn't want to have a knife? But I didn't try to wear it, and because it wouldn't have really worked well. So I didn't feel the need to wear it. I just kind of had it there. Yeah. If you're wearing it, if it means something to you, I'll give you that suggestion. If it means something to you because it was passed down in the family or whatever, and you want to incorporate it into a wedding ceremony because that's the formal event, great. Then put it at the cake table and use that to cut the cake. Therefore, you're including it into the ceremony. You're stabbing that cake. It's going to die. But
just keep it with the meat cutting table. Not
exactly. Yes, exactly. The
carving station.
Yeah, carving station chef out there with... He's got his beret on and the black face paint for the SAS. Yeah, indeed. No, not quite. But yes.
Yeah.
The angriest cutting station chef ever. I've seen things, man.
Well, it's therapeutic.
It's
fair. It's just like take all your aggressions out on the meat and then relax, enjoy the rest of the reception.
Exactly.
No. You have a dagger. You have one of these daggers for each wedding member of the wedding party, and they just eat the meat off the tip of the dagger. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, whether you're wearing a dirk or a dagger or carrying a batleth around, you're not going to be using it for anything. It's just there for show. So, yeah, I mean, you do you from an aesthetic standpoint, and from a honoring the national dress standpoint, I don't think I would recommend it.
Agreed.
Wash day.
You do you, but if you want to do it, don't be you. Be somebody else who doesn't want to do it.
Unless you can be Batman.
Always be Batman. Yes. So the crux of the question actually is, where do you draw the line? What is Highland dress or close enough or personal style versus what makes something a caricature? Down in the comments, let us know. Do you agree with us that this one went a little bit too far, or would you wear something like that?